In today's video, I'm going to go over some tips and tricks for beginners, as well as some tips that you may not know even if you're an advanced player. Without further ado, let's just get straight into it. And we're going to start off in the menu, because this is really where you're going to build your strategy on how you're going to start your rounds and what you're going to do to prepare yourself, whether you're doing Easter eggs, higher rounds, or you're just doing camo grinding or having a fun time. So first off, we're going to go to our loadout. When making a custom build, as you guys can see, I have this little logo next to my gun. What you do is once you're done customizing your build, putting all the attachments that you want on it, really quickly, this is a simple tip that most people know. Put the suppressor on because it's going to have a chance to drop extra salvage. So just put it on every single build no matter what. But once you're done making your build, whatever it may be, you're going to go over to the weapon and you're going to right click it. And if you guys can see, I'm going to remove it here, but if you guys can see, you can set it as a zombies build. Not only is this going to save it so you can utilize it in zombies, because you can make a build and you can use it across the board from Warzone, multiplayer, and zombies. But not only when you set it as your build are you going to be able to use this specific build for zombies, but you're going to be able to use it when you buy it off of a wall. And why is that important? This year's zombies is a little bit different than it's been in the past. They really wanted to lean towards the traditional feel for zombies. And sure, coming into the game with a great weapon, fully kitted out to your liking, is fantastic. But the purpose of this is to be able to buy a weapon straight off the wall early on in the game and already have it a higher rarity. The higher rounds you go, the higher the rarity is going to be. And this is really how you should play your strategies. You shouldn't be using your main loadout. What I do recommend you doing is kitting out as many guns as you can and setting them as your zombies build. Then going into the match with another weapon that is low level that you don't have a lot of attachments with. Use that weapon at the beginning. Once you get to that wall buy, whatever it may be, for instance, if you go to the beginning of Terminus, you will see the GS45. So you can fully kit this out, as you guys can see. And what I can do is set this as my zombies build so I can buy it straight away in the game and utilize it instantly at green rarity. And again, the higher the rounds, the higher the rarity, but the more expensive it's going to be. And when we look at augmentations, this is a new system introduced into the game, and I think it's a wonderful introduction. The reason being is this is how you can really diversify and build up your builds to be able to do higher rounds as well as have higher survivability. In my opinion, these are the most important things to level up. As you guys can see, I have Juggernog fully leveled up. I have Speed Cola almost leveled up. The beautiful thing about these is once you go in here, let's just say Deadshot Daiquiri, I have not leveled up at all. I'm going to click it and it's now active. As you guys see, I have the check mark here. When I play the game, it is slowly going to level itself up. It does take quite a while to level these up to max. The way these are leveled up is not when you use it. Like Deadshot Daiquiri, I can have it equipped on research, but I don't actually have to have it in the game. Same with your ammo mods and your field upgrade. Let's just say I'm using Brain Rot. I don't actually have to have Brain Rot equipped on my weapon to progress this, because these progress through time, not through XP, not through rounds. They progress for the amount of time played. So the more you play, the faster these are going to level up, and you don't need to actually have them equipped or using them in your match. The next thing we're going to talk about are your tacticals and lethals. This year, it's very different with zombies. Again, a lot is changing with this year's zombies, and I do welcome a lot of these changes, but not like Cold War. Cold War rained lethals and tacticals on us, but in Black Ops 6, you do not get tacticals or lethals quite often, and what you do get is a very diverse range. I recommend equipping whichever one you guys like. I just prestige, so I do not have any of these unlocked currently, but I highly recommend you running the decoys or running the concussions. Smokes are also really good. It can distract the zombies and you can hide in the smoke and they'll run away from you. They will de-aggro you. But mainly, I highly recommend you running decoys and concussions. And when you're going throughout the matches, whatever tactical and lethal drops, just pick it up. If you're out of tactical, if you're out of lethal, pick one up, because 9 times out of 10, if you're running a decoy, decoys are not going to drop all the time, so you're not going to be able to utilize them all the time. So I recommend whatever drops, pick it up and use it as you go. You can obviously buy these for salvage. It's not that expensive, but if you want to go higher rounds, tier up your weapon, you want to save salvage as well as buying score streaks for the exfil. I highly recommend using decoys, concussions, and anything that drops on the ground, just pick it up. Next off is a gobblegum pack. I highly recommend you guys making as many gobblegum packs as you can. Reason being is mid-game, you can change out your gobblegum packs that you're using. So say I have all of these that I'm using all blues. Mid-game, once I use all these up and I no longer want to cycle through these anymore, I can go over here and I can have a higher tier set of gobblegums. Like we'll go over to here, we'll edit this. Let's say I don't want shields up anymore. I can go over here and set a second gobblegum with all legendaries, so I have a higher chance of getting one of the legendaries I want. Same thing for ultra, whimsical. These are just fun, but epic as well. So I highly recommend recommend you building out as many gobblegum packs as you can, because throughout the game you can switch them on the fly, which I think is a fantastic addition, although I don't use gobblegums all that much. So now let's talk about things that you should be doing and focusing on when you're in game. First off is the new introduction of the Rampage Inducer. I highly recommend you guys using this every game. It is not going to boost the difficulty of the zombies up to round 4 or 5. All it's going to do is make them faster. It's going to make those early rounds go a lot quicker. I do turn off around 5 because you're not able to get one-shot headshots and things like that, so I highly recommend you turning it off around 4 or 5. You can go as high as you want, but at the end of the day, all it's going to do is going to make it difficult for you. The real purpose of it is just to go through the early rounds a lot faster. That's what I use it for, and that's what I think it's meant for, in my opinion, to be honest with you, unless you're brutal and you just want to have a really brutal game the entire time, all the way up to round 50, 100, whatever it may be. So use the Rampage Inducer up until around 4 or 5. This kind of goes hand in hand with the Rampage Inducer as well as early on in the games. Melee may be great early on because, you know, it's a one-hit kill, but the thing about it is you can switch your guns, because most guns have alternate firing modes. You can switch it to semi-automatic, or you can just tap your trigger and shoot one bullet at a time, because up until about round 5 you're able to get one-shot headshots. So I recommend you going that route instead of melee. The reason being is you're going to get more points on crit. You're going to get 150 instead of the base 100. Sure, is melee great? Yes, but I highly recommend you just using the weapon that you have, and you're not going to be burning through a lot of ammo because you're going to be able to do one-shot kills. And if you train them up, you can also have bullet penetration and kill multiple zombies with one bullet. So keep that in mind when doing early games, because it's just an easy way to have early essence early on. You know, from round 1 to round 5, you can get upwards to 1500 extra essence just from getting those crit shots. I recommend you just using a gun overall, in my opinion. Now, while we're on the topic of melee, this time around, for the first time ever in Call of Duty history, we actually have a dedicated slot for a melee weapon, which I think is great. From Warzone to multiplayer to zombies, being able to have a dedicated melee is beautiful, in my opinion. This should be the weapon you pull out constantly. Whether you're traversing the map trying to get out of a sticky situation, you need to pull out your melee weapon. To do this, you hold down your melee button and you'll whip out whatever melee weapon you have equipped. With this year's Omni movement and the use of perks with the melee weapon equipped boost, you'll have an easier time getting where you need to go or escaping death. Whether you're in a hard situation, you're clustered by a lot of enemies, or you want to just get out of the pack and get out of the cluster of guys, or you're just trying to run around and you want to go to the mystery box, you want to go to the arsenal machine, or you want to pack your weapon, whatever it may be, whipping out your melee weapon is going to give you a lot more versatility and mobility overall. So whip this out a lot more than you think you should and utilize it, especially with this year's Omni movement. Now, when it comes to movement, I can't stress it enough to constantly be rotating. Sure, training zombies is great and useful for camo grinding and XP. That's the beautiful thing about zombies that we love since its inception, is training zombies and taking them all out. But when you want to go high rounds and just play, rotate as much as possible, because there's a mechanic in the game. The further away you get from the group of zombies, the higher chance they actually will reset their spawn. So there are going to be some stragglers that will actually follow you and take your path or take an alternate path to get to you, especially when it comes to elite and special zombies. If you run away from them far enough, you will notice that they will actually respawn outside of the map with the same health that they had before, but they'll do a complete reset, and this will give you the ability to kind of reset and recoup. I don't see a lot of players doing this. They kind of just run around in the same area, but Liberty Falls having all the zip lines that they do have, as well as how big Terminus is. They have the elevators, multiple elevators. They have zip lines as well. I highly recommend you rotating as much as possible just to get a little bit of a reset, get a buffer. This way you can clear out some of the horde and then take on the special or elite zombies on their own while they're outside of the map respawning. Now, while we're kind of talking about elites and specials, when it comes to the special zombies, these are going to be the manglers, and the elites are going to be the amalgams as well as the abomination. For manglers, I highly recommend you using napalm bursts or impact grenades, or any grenade for that matter. A pack-a-punch melee weapon is absolutely insane. You don't even need to have napalm burst on it, but if you have it pack 1 with napalm burst, it can be very versatile up to around 30. You can 1-hit to 2-hit kill manglers, and that's the one thing about this game. There are manglers everywhere. I mean, I don't know. Are they breeding? Is it breeding time, or are they just coming out and they're breeding as much as they can? Because there are so many in this zombies, it's absolutely insane. Go for the hand cannon first, blow that out, then they're going to start charging you, then go for the head, take out their helmet, then take out their damage. Now, when it comes to abominations, shoot their mouth as they beam you, but better yet, you can also throw any kind of grenade, lethal grenade, into each of their mouths and blow it up instantly. So as they're beaming you, throw a grenade into the mouth, it's going to blow that head up, and then you have to do it 2 more times and it'll be an insta kill, and it's that's just a good way to take out chunks of its health. The amalgamations, keep your distance from them because they're going to be able to grab you, pull you in, and at higher rounds they can instantly kill you. I recommend you going for the little glowy parts of their body. This is going to give you the ability to have boosted damage, as well as these are their crit spots, and you're going to eventually be able to take different parts off of them, and it will actually prevent some of their different move sets from occurring. So the more damage and more parts you break off, the less of ability they have to do the grabbing ability and different swipe abilities that they have. One of the biggest survivability items in this year's zombies is going to be your vest or your armor. Now, as you guys know, you start with a 1 plate and you can buy a 2 plate and then a 3 plate. I do recommend you guys skipping the 2 plate and go straight for the 3 plate. I know it is pretty pricey, but in the end, if you're going high rounds, you're going to spend a ton of essence going from 2 then to 3. And most of the time you can survive on just 2 plates because not all hits from the zombies will take out a plate. It's usually elites or specials or specific kind of attacks that will break your armor. So I highly recommend you just skipping the 2-tier armor completely and going straight to the 3-tier because it's going to save you essence overall, and you're actually going to be able to get it a lot earlier on in the game and boost your survivability. Now when it comes to armor, we're going to talk about an augment. This is going to be turtle shell. Now this might seem good on paper, but I avoid this at all costs. The reason being is it only is going to mitigate damage from the back. Now they just did a recent patch where the amalgamations, when they grab you and take you into their body and bite you, you will actually break some of your armor. So only for them specifically, they will take out your armor. They don't instantly kill you. This is only when your back is to the enemy. And is this good? Yeah, if a mangler's shooting at you and you're running away, or a horde's running after you and you run away and they hit your back, that is great. But most of the time you're front facing the enemy, and when you have turtle shell on, it basically acts as if you have no armor in the front, so you're not going to be able to have armor mitigation damage. I highly recommend you just avoid this augmentation at all times. I don't think I'm ever going to use it. Maybe if there's a little bit of a rework to it. I don't know if there will be, because this is kind of what the augmentation is meant to do. So I highly recommend you just avoiding this overall. Now when it comes to survivability, health regen is a little bit different than we've ever seen in zombies. This year, when you get hit, as you guys know, there's a little bit of a delay before you start regenerating health. This time around, this is a 6-second delay, and that might not seem a lot, but right now, count to your head 6 seconds. That is a lot of time for you to get hit and get down. If you go to 1 HP and you're running away, you have to wait for 6 seconds for that to regen. So keep in mind the regen takes a lot longer this year. Now, when you have Jug active, it actually halves this time. So instead of the regen happening after 6 seconds, it's going to happen after 3. And as you guys know, Jug is one of the best perks to get in the game, and we always get it pretty early on. But I highly recommend you just keep that in mind, because you might think you have more of a time and more of a window to escape or get away or get hit one more time, but the regen window is a lot bigger this year. Now, while we're talking about perks, this might seem simple, but must-have perks in my opinions, especially if you're running solo, is going to be Jug, Quick Revive, Stamina Up, and Speed Cola. But I highly recommend you prioritize Jug and Stamina Up. Yes, you can prioritize Speed Cola, but if you can run away, then you can have a bigger window to reload. Wait later on until you have enough essence to be able to buy the Speed Cola. I highly recommend you go Jug, Stamina Up, and then Quick Revive. And this goes on to our next tip. This year, when you're down, you're going to lose all the perks you have except for the first 3 you buy. Now, there is a little bit of change here. When you do buy Quick Revive, it automatically jumps to your first slot, and the reason being is that way you can actually have and utilize it, because if you bought it in your 4th slot, 5th slot, it's going to disappear and it's going to be useless. So keep that in mind. I highly recommend you go Jug, Speed Cola, and then any perk after that. And once you buy Quick Revive, it's automatically going to jump to your first slot. So it will be Quick Revive, Jug, then Stamina Up, and you'll lose all the rest, which is fine, because in the end, Stamina Up as well as Jug is most important. And with the Quick Revive jumping to your first slot, there's nothing we can actually do about it, and that's just the way it works. Now, when it comes to ammo mods, Napalm Burst is by far the best ammo mod to use across the board, especially for the special and elite zombies. On top of this, if you have extra essence to spare, hack a bunch of your melee weapon like I did say earlier and put Napalm Burst on it, as well as this will kill manglers in 1 to 2 hits up towards round 20. If you couple it with Deadshot Daiquiri not only gives you random ammo pops, but it makes it to where your ammo mod is going to pop more frequently. So whatever ammo mod you have on, it's actually going to pop that more frequently, and then every once in a while you're going to get a random one. So I highly recommend you just couple these 2 things together, and Napalm Burst by far is the best, not only for elite zombies and special zombies, but it's great just to pop pieces off of armored zombies, and using the burn effect in hordes, it'll light everything up and you'll just start ticking damage on them. So I recommend always run napalm burst unless you're trying to do something special or have like a specialty. I do not recommend dead wire because 9 times out of 10, if a zombie triggers it, I usually get stuck in a doorway, stuck in a path, and I actually can't leave, and then I die. Dead wire I avoid like the plague, and I normally and basically only run napalm burst. Now these last few tips, I'm going to go over them pretty quick. Using traps frequently and often is a great way to get salvage, because when you have a group and a horde, the trap damage actually scales and they do insta kills no matter what round you're on. I highly recommend you using traps frequently, not only just because it'll get you out of a sticky situation, you can clear out a group and focus an elite or special zombie, but if you're short on salvage, guide the zombies to the trap and you'll have the ability to have a chance to drop a ton of salvage just from using traps alone. Kill streaks, these are a great get out of jail free card. Now if you're in a pinch, activate any computer operated kill streak or the mutant injection and you'll have the ability to have the zombies de-aggro you, and you have the ability to kill them. Obviously the RCXD is great. The way to use this is actually don't use it and just plow into the zombies. What you want to do is kind of use it like a mobile monkey bomb. Drive it around and it's going to pulsate and kill zombies within a radius and they will follow it. So you can actually use this for a very long duration before it blows up. Kind of get them away from you, get them out of your way, kill as many as you can with its pulse, and then activate it, and then you have a higher chance to be able to get away, you know, move to a safer position because the zombies will be de-aggroing you and be further away. Pack a bunch in your weapon, refills your ammo. So if you have low ammo and you have enough to pack a bunch, you can instantly pack a bunch. It'll refill your clip, refill all reserve ammo, and you can just go on kind of a free, it's basically a free max ammo, even though it costs a lot, because at the end it's going to give you a boost as well as max ammo. And every 5 rounds, a bug round will appear and give you a max ammo at the end. So keep that in mind before you just buy ammo, because ammo is very expensive in this title. It's absurd. It's absurd how expensive ammo gets at higher rounds. I remember doing the boss, the Terminus Easter egg boss, and I died because I didn't have enough essence to buy ammo and I ran out of ammo. So don't be like me and don't make a foolish mistake like that. Keep in mind you can down a zombie at any point, and this will give you the ability to kind of have a small window of time to relax. If you blow the legs off of a zombie and they become a crawler, or you leave a crawler at the end of a round, they will stay alive without taking damage for 10 minutes, and after 10 minutes they'll just automatically die to start the new round. This gives you the ability to kind of reset yourself, recoup, buy any upgrades you need to do, run around the map, do an Easter egg, and just gives you a little bit of cooldown time, because as you guys know, zombies is very intensive and it does not stop. Now when it comes to power-ups, I highly recommend you guys don't use them right away. If you're in a sticky situation, sure, go for it. And a double points pops up, I highly recommend you waiting, and what you can do is the power-up, once it starts blinking, it'll be blinking for about 5 to 6 seconds depending on how you time it before it fully disappears. So what I like to do is sit by it, wait until it's about to disappear, and then collect it, so I'll have it for a longer duration. When it comes to nuke, I usually never pick up a nuke because you get 400 points for a nuke, whereas you can get a couple thousands for killing the horde. Once the horde has died off, the round ends, I then grab the nuke for the extra 400. That way you're able to get more points overall. This is just some simple tips and tricks to help you guys in Black Ops 6 Zombies. Let me know how you guys are liking it. Let me know if any of these tips helped you out. Put some tips down in the comments below. If you guys like all things zombies, all things Call of Duty, that's what we do here on the channel. We're going to be doing everything. Multiplayer, Warzone, zombies mainly, but we like everything across the board. I appreciate every single one of you guys, and if you enjoyed it, drop a like on it and subscribe. And as always, stay happy, stay hyped, and have a beautiful day.